Hi guys, I am Rachel, and you had just entered the FBI Club. I am your host for today's meeting. If this is your first time, welcome. Here, fashion is a weapon, history's a scandal, and today's target made the fatal mistake of being rich, wrong, and poorly dressed. So go grab a snack, light your candle, and today's meeting is gonna be about Forrest Galante. So let's begin with the way Forrest likes to start his story. He likes to tell everyone that he was born in California, raised in Zimbabwe, running around with wild warthogs, swimming with crocodiles, zebras on his lawn, and all this crazy fun stuff. He also likes to tell everybody about him escaping the dangerous colonial fallout that he barely survived by the skin of his khaki shorts as well. It's a very compelling narrative, also as far from the truth as possible. While Forrest did grow up in Zimbabwe, that is true, his parents they did own a private luxury safari business. His mother, Jacaranda, is the one that actually ran this luxury safari business. But the way that Forrest paints it, like I said, is he had to harrowingly escape from this dangerous seizure, right? This violent land seizure. But here's where it kind of gets a little messy. Forrest has claimed, and has even written about it in his own memoir, that his family fled Zimbabwe during the middle of the night during those violent seizures. So, of course, I had to look into it. And what I actually found was a divorce. Not just one, two freaking divorces. I found two. And they were beyond messy divorces. So this is a fun fact. According to court records, Jacaranda and the children were already safely back in California before the height of the violent land seizures ever happened. Which means there were no mobs, no torches, no escaping in the middle of the night in a helicopter. There is literally just a giant estate dispute. That's all there is to find. I also linked, because the family drama is just insane, I linked all the court filings below so you could read through it. Jacaranda, Forrest's mom, her sister Topaz, was arrested because Edward, Forrest's dad, accused Jacaranda of stealing and hiding all this valuable artwork. And so Edward filed a police report to have the sheriff go over there in 2003 or 4, if I remember correctly. I can't even remember correctly because it was this part's after the land seizures, which means they still had their freaking land. The court record says that in 2003, 2004, he filed a police report to go get his art collection back from the house. And while the sheriffs were there, or trying to find this art collection, Topaz was there, which is Jacaranda's sister. Topaz wasn't sure which art he was talking about, because apparently there was a ton of art. She didn't know which art he was talking about. The sheriff was like, well, you're impeding on the investigation. And because Topaz's daughter was also with her, both of them were arrested for trying to hide artwork. Kid. And then the court was like, whoa, this is insane. What are you doing? And then, come to find out they couldn't find, do you know where this artwork was? It was in one of the staff members' houses. So that wasn't raided either. Not even the staff member houses were raided. I don't know. Don't ask me. Actually, do ask me, because I found out all the information. So the question really is, why the story? Why the made-up story? Maybe he just didn't want to say he left voluntarily. Maybe he didn't want to do that. maybe white landowner in post-colonial Africa doesn't land well with producers, or maybe just like everything else, trauma always solves better than tension, you know? I find it absolutely mind-boggling that you would put yourself at the center of a crisis with no actual records to back it up, and if someone does look it up, it's just public record that you were not involved. So then if that's like the first chapter of your whole story and your whole legacy, and that's already a lie, what does that say about the rest of your legacy? We're gonna dive in. We're diving in. So after moving from Zimbabwe back to California, he ended up living life, getting a bachelor's degree in biology at UC Santa Barbara. I could not find any grad work from him, no like affiliations, no lab work. That's a good start. And let's be honest, just because you got a degree in something does not mean that's your passion, does not mean you're good at it. It means you know how to pass some classes. That's literally all it means. So after he gets his degree, he doesn't do anything with it, and and then he decides he wants to try out for survival reality television, and he ends up on our screen in 2013. I did not know this until I researched it. Season 1, episode 8 of Naked and Afraid. Who the hell wants to see him naked? Ew. I'm so sorry. Nasty. But anyways, apparently that got like 4 million views or something like that. I'm pretty sure that went to Forrest's head. That went to Forrest's head, and he was like, oh my god. A lot of people watched me, you know? So after doing that, I'm sure he was like, I gotta get really into this, because then he decided he was gonna grab a buddy and they were gonna make some documentary called Dancing with Dragons, where he goes swimming with crocodiles and alligators. Apparently, Discovery Channel saw this and they were like, oh my god, we freaking love this guy, we got to get him. So they got him. And then that's when they gave him the contract in 2018 for Extinct or Alive. And it's like the worst thing that's happened to a lot of scientists. Animal Planet or Discovery Channel, I fucked up, I don't know. He got a contract with like Discovery Channel or Animal Planet for Extinct or Alive. One of the two. I don't remember. So the premise of the show Extinct or Alive, I'm sure you know it. It's stupid. Dumb. Anyways, premise. He travels to foreign locations to find animals believed to be extinct, and then he films their rediscovery. But if you've gone snooping like I have, you have found out that this has nothing to do with discovery. It has everything to do with duplication and fabrication, because nothing he does is his work on that show. So we are gonna get into it. Alright, so the Fernandina tortoise. I'm sure we've all heard about this one because he did end up having to give credit to Jeffrey Malaga. He got a lot of backlash for that one. So, the Fernandina tortoise was actually rediscovered by Jeffrey Malaga. Jeffrey led the 2019 expedition that found the Fernandina Galapagos tortoise, not Forrest. Jeffrey was part of the Galapagos National Park Directorate. He was not a content creator, a real conservationist, and his team is the one that found the tortoise. But Forrest just so happened to film it right after, so he got the credit for it. But like I said, he received a lot of backlash for this and ended up having to give Jeffrey Malaga his credit. The Rio Apaporis caiman. So, the Rio Apaporis caiman was actually rediscovered by Sergio Balaguer Reina. And he literally published peer-reviewed papers, tons of them, and found him a year or two before Forrest ever showed up. The only reason that Forrest was able to film that extinct or alive episode is because of Sergio telling him the exact coordinates to go find it and the time of day and everything else like that. So it had already been scouted for him and everything else. He just had to show up, take samples, and bounce. That's all he did. Take samples. Moving on to the Miller's Linger. This one is really annoying because Dr. Brent Loken and his team have years of work. Brent's rediscovery was documented and peer-reviewed in 2012. He and his team worked with local communities and field biologists. It was super slow and a very respectful process. Not a mid-season cliffhanger. So I want to give credit to, there is a website called recentlyextinctspecies.com. It has an incredible article written in it that I've linked in the description down below. And in it says, for the Zanzibar leopard, it gives credit to Dr. Martin Walsh and Dr. Helly V. Goldman. They are the foremost researchers of the Zanzibar leopard over the last couple of decades. I just want to read this part of the article real quick to you. Dr. Walsh and Dr. Goldman. We participated in the production of this extended episode by providing background material about leopards and other wildlife on the island. Traveling to Zanzibar a week in advance of the film crew, we scouted filming locations, lined up interviews, liaised with local forestry staff, and obtained access to recent photographs of alleged leopard pug marks and leopard kills. In addition, we deployed 10 camera traps in various locations, getting excellent video footage. They did use footage of an interview with us and many clips of the other animals that we had camera trapped. Oh, wait, no. And then down at the bottom, it goes, the fact that Goldman and Walsh have never recorded the Zanzibar leopard despite visiting the small island many times over the years, including 10 camera traps deployed in their latest attempt, while Galante and crew managed to capture a leopard in the short time they were on the island, should raise suspicions that it is a feral animal or the footage was not in fact taken on Unguja. Dr. Goldman and others are skeptical of its authenticity as representing a Zanzibar leopard. So the people who set Forrest up to do this don't even think what they found was an actual leopard. Let's just say that. So what happens when Forrest jumps in, gets all the credit, and then just bounces? A lot of bad things happen. The real scientists get left in the dark, funding dries up, donors think the species have been found, and stop supporting the cause. And then, worst of all, I personally think, the locals and the scientists who have been doing all this work, they just get erased. I personally find it rude and a little unethical. Yeah. Also, this isn't a one-time fluke. It's a pattern. He claims, he films, he bounces, leaving nothing but a fucking selfie and a shitty soundbite. So we're gonna say it plainly. Taking credit for other people's work is really scummy. And it's not conservation. So I just think if Forrest really wanted to help animals, he would cite the people that are actually putting the work into the animals. Wouldn't you think? Because real conservation is not content. You're not saving the animals, you're just selling a narrative. So at this point, you might be thinking, okay, maybe he's not a scientist, but he's still bringing awareness to the animals. No. Awareness without action is just aesthetics. Like all the influencers, you know? This guy is not building a legacy, he is building a lifestyle brand. This guy has so many partnerships, it's crazy, and not a single one in science. Well, just hear me out. Forrest partners with AG1, the green drink every podcast bro sells. Jeep, for all your trashy ducks. HECS camo to block your force field. Magic Mind, the performance enhancing elixir. DJI drones, because of fucking course he does. Taxa Outdoors, for minimalist trailer camping for maximum Instagrammability. You know? And that's not even including his podcast, merch, or the speaking gigs. So we're still seeing a pattern here. No collaborations with underfunded researchers. No co-authored papers. No fellowships. And shout outs only when he's forced to give them. But you know who does have Forrest's attention? Billionaires. Billionaires. He loves billionaires. He does love billionaires. So this year, in January of 2025, he went to Jamnagar, India, to visit Vantara. Vantara is the world's largest wildlife rehabilitation sanctuary. It is fantastic, I've got to say. It is absolutely beautiful. I would totally go there and visit. Gorgeous. It was founded by Anant Ambani, the son of the oil tycoon Mukesh Ambani, one of the richest men on earth. And it's definitely not open to the public at all. So why was Forrest there? He wasn't researching. He wasn't partnering with Indian conservationists. He wasn't filming a documentary for education. He was actually there as a guest of an Indian influencer named Ranveer Alabadia. Let me tell you something. When you watch, I just want you to watch Ranveer's version of Vantara first. If you haven't watched Ranveer's and then go and watch Forrest, do it that way. When you watch Ranveer's video, it is so humble. He is just stoked to meet Forrest. He is just like, he just comes across as the sweetest dude. The sweetest freaking dude on earth. And he's so stoked to be there. Just, in awe of the whole place. Then you go and watch fucking Forrest video. It's like his dick is slung over his shoulder. It's the polar opposite of what Ranveer put out. It's like, I'm a badass. I do this. Look at me at this billionaire's place. Brr, 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 brr. And then Ranveer's like, oh, you know, it is. If you want a visual depiction of how a lot of people probably see Forrest, that's a perfect one. That is the perfect comparison. Humility versus total arrogance. It is wild. That's how I saw it. So, clearly he was not there for any animal thing, right? Whatever. He was just there for clout. That's it. It was solely a mutual PR moment. Forrest got to go flex in India at a billionaire's. Oh, and then another thing. In Ranveer's video, he's like, oh, Forrest, you know? And then in Forrest's video, you don't even know I didn't even know he was there with Ranveer. Didn't even know he was there with Ranveer. And if I'm saying his name wrong, I'm sorry. Sorry. But he doesn't even mention the kid. I didn't even know he was there. That's just a fun fact. Anyways, the Ambani family got the Western attention, which is always good. Now, to be clear, I am not coming after the Ambani family at all. It is their money, their zoo, their choice. They can do whatever the hell they want with their zoo. And what they're doing with their zoo is like super damn cool. So I ain't mad at it. But Forrest being there, that's branding, not biology. And then it just makes you wonder like how many other places he showed up as like a guest for clout and not even for like being a researcher, you know? So let's just like recap Forrest vibe real quick, right? Wears expensive camo. Drinks microdose elixirs. Poses with wild animals in someone else's sanctuary. And partners with billionaires. What he doesn't do, acknowledges the scientists who risk their lives. Publish any actual research. Collaborate with conservation teams. Besides for clout and his own glory. I don't think this is a misunderstanding. I think this is a total strategy on his end. Because he's giving off this rugged intelligence. I'm Mr. Lone Wolf, you know? Hero scientist with a drone and a conscience. Well, I'm pretty sure science is not sponsored by podcast pre-workout drinks, you know? I don't know. I haven't been to the zoo lately, so it could be. Who freaking knows? You know, that's actually kind of smart. Put your freaking pre-workout drink at the zoo, and everybody will be speeding around that zoo. We gotta go see that animal. Anyways. So it is definitely easy to love wildlife, but it is way harder to support the people that are actually doing the work. So if Forrest actually loves conservation, why does he focus so much on his visibility instead of his accountability? So Forrest has a show. He has the sponsors. He has the drama. He has the billionaires. He's got this everything. He's got it. And then apparently he also needed his own production company that I don't know why. His production company name makes my skin crawl. I don't know why. Makes my skin crawl. I hate it because it's dumb. That's why. Forrest Galante owns a production company called Fantasticus Pictures. Fantasticus Pictures. You're so clever. fucking fossils. Fucking neat. I hate it. I think it's so dumb. Fantastic ass. I hate it. They have produced the shows Mysterious Creatures, Wet Markets Exposed, and a few Shark Week specials. But can I say something real quick? I don't know about you. When I was a little kid, when they talked about black markets on like Nat Geo and shit, I thought black markets were like markets with like tents, and you got to go down to like Chinatown, and you go back to the Chinatown, and then you go back there, and then there's like tents with like the black, and then in my head, right? That's what I thought as a kid. Clearly, that's not what it freaking is. Anyways. When I read, because I've never watched his shows, when I read Wet Markets Exposed, all I thought was like the soggy versions of black markets. That's all I thought. I just wanted to let you know that. Anyways, Fantasticus Pictures website claims, it's a very bold claim too, and I'm going to read it to you. The only production company that actively finances conservation work in exchange for filming rights. I'm sorry. You finance conservation only if you get the filming rights? Think about that phrasing. It's not we support conservation. It's we pay for the narrative. It's we pay to access wildlife. Ew. What? So this just means they're buying the narrative, they're controlling the image, and they're profiting off of the very thing they claim to protect. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Now, nowhere can I find credible public records that Forrest Galante has ever donated substantial money to conservation. There's no 501c3 filings, no partners with registered nonprofits, no named recipients, no open ledgers, no financial disclosures, nothing. And yes, bitch, I checked. I checked a lot. I checked up and down. I even cross-checked other people. So I was like, well, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe that stuff wouldn't be online, Rachel, right? No, because I looked up Jeff Corwin. I'm not going to burst your bubble on this one. He's still a great guy. I looked up Jeff Corwin. Now, he has not donated a shit ton of money to conservation, but he's donated money, and he has also peer-reviewed papers. He's collaborated with scientists. He has done so much field work with everyone from rabbits in Washington to crap in Madagascar. You know what I mean? Like, he is out there working with the scientists and the locals and everyone. And then I was like, oh, I gotta do it. I gotta look up Robert Irwin, right? That motherfucker blew everybody out of the water. He is just killing it. Robert Irwin, go Robert Irwin. He is just conservation, donations. That animal needs help, I'm on my way. Robert Irwin's fucking killing it out there. So everyone that loves Steve Irwin, you should be proud of Robert Irwin. Give him a round of applause, everyone. Round of applause for Robert Irwin. He deserves it. So does Jeff Corwin. He's badass. What I did come across, though, is he is actually partnered with a clothing brand called Fox and Robin in ethical activewear brand. They are a member of the 1% Planet member organization thing. Meaning they give 1% of their revenue back to 501c3s or whatever environment. It says, though, that on the Fox and Robin site, that they donate 1% of their annual revenue to environmental nonprofit. Forrest Galante is partnered with them, right? So Forrest Galante, he gets to pick the nonprofit that they support. I personally don't trust that. But the thing is, when I looked it up, I couldn't find any of their donations either. So there's no transparency on where this 1% or how much 1% is that is going back to these 501c3s. So to me, all this means it's a marketing tactic. It's a cute number, a shiny sentence with no legal trail. That's all it is. Meanwhile, real conservationists, the ones who actually rediscover species, manage sanctuaries, and collaborate with the indigenous communities, are broke. They rely on grants. They all share tents. They dig latrines before they dig up samples. They sleep on the ground and fight for every dollar. And then Forrest, he's flying drones over sanctuaries and cashing in on their credibility. It's definitely not a crime to be successful, but when you build your whole platform on the backs of animals that can't speak and scientists who don't have media teams, the least you can do is show where the money's going. If your bag is full of cash from wildlife, you should be showing us the wildlife that has benefited from it. Because right now, it looks like that 1% is going straight into camo collagen and content. And now we're going to talk about Forrest loves, we already mentioned one time how Forrest loves to do this. And he's going to do it again. Myanmar. Let's talk about Myanmar. Forrest takes the global tragedy and makes him the center of it. This story literally comes from Forrest's YouTube itself from like 8-9 months ago, something like that, where he tells his story and how he sold his show to the History Channel at the beginning of 2018, right? So he claims that he was nearly caught in the Rohingya massacre, like barely missed it. According to Forrest, they arrived 12 hours after it happened, the height of this happening, right? And then Myanmar has some gnarly ban on drones, and some dude filmed it, and they're on a manhunt to go kill this dude, right? That's what, something like he said. They show up, somehow fly under the radar, snuck the drones into the country, filmed, narrowly escaped capture. He makes it really intense. He makes it seem really dramatic. It's a little cinematic, you know what I mean? And it's all bullshit. To me, it's all bullshit. So claim one is that they arrived 12 hours after the Rohingya massacre, right? Well, in his own words, he sold his show to the History Channel at the beginning of 2018. I looked into the Rohingya massacre. The height of the Rohingya massacre happened in like August of 2017. So by Forrest's own words, selling his show in 2018 and then filming sometime in 2018, because I looked up the timeline for the show and the show's air date wasn't even until 2019. So he had to have filmed 2018 or the early of 2019, completely missing the Rohingya massacre. So, unless Forrest invented time travel, he missed the whole Rohingya massacre by like a year. The timeline just does not add up at all. Then number 2, they claim that they smuggled the drones into Myanmar during a crackdown and almost got arrested. According to Forrest, his crew spread all the drones between different suitcases. TSA had their new guys on that day because they didn't know how to check bags or something. I don't know. The local guards were just in awe of Forrest because he probably did a card trick to get their attention, you know? And then 2 days later, they try to arrest him or something. They're gonna go kill him, capture him and kill him. Okay. Of course I looked into it. I had to look into it. You know what I found? In 2016, 1 year before the Rohingya massacre, they had just implemented regulations on drones. In 2017, during the year of the Rohingya massacre, in 2017, 2 foreign journalists were flying a drone around Parliament. They were caught, and they got 2 months in jail. In 2019, a French tourist. So in Myanmar, real quick, in Myanmar, it's really simple to get drones in. All you have to do is fill out some paperwork saying, hey, I'm bringing some drones. They go, okay. And then you fill out some paperwork saying, hey, I'm going to fly my drones. And they go, okay. You're good. The French tourist in 2019, so 2 years after the Rohingya massacre, he was flying it with no legal documentation to have it there and no legal documentation to fly it there. He got a month in jail. That was it. Not a manhunt. There's no manhunts going on for drone flying in Myanmar at all. Just never been reported. So unless Forrest's crew was live streaming like their military bases to the United States media, it's incredibly unlikely he was in any sort of danger at all. At all. The guy was fine. Totally fine. And here we go again. He's not just telling a suspicious story. He's telling a very offensive story because what he said is not even true. The Rohingya massacre was absolutely insane. I had never heard of it until now, or until Forrest brought it up, and then anyways. And so I looked into it after I learned about it through Forrest. That massacre was a total, like, genocide almost. It was so sad. It's insane. I linked an article in the description below where you can read what happened, and the fact that he used that as a backdrop for one of his stories just for some clout is absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. Read the story and you'll see what I'm saying. It's horrid what happened. And they're still facing, like, this genocide to this day. Like, it's still lingering there. It's really sad, and he used it for clout. So with no footage, no verifiable dates, no receipts, all vibes and edits, you do not have to lie to be interesting. You don't have to insert yourself in danger to prove you care. But when you do, and people believe you, you steal focus, funding, and credibility from the people who actually lived through it. So if you're going to tell stories like that, you better have the footage, you better have the dates, you better have the receipts, and it better not just be a vibe. Because this was not a field report. It was a flex, and a very disrespectful one. So if you have made it this far, you realize that we are not dealing with a scientist. You realize we are dealing with a content creator pretending to cosplay as a scientist. His pattern is recognizable, and they aren't just silly slip-ups anymore. Because science isn't just about climbing into the jungle and looking passionate. It's about recognition, documentation, precision, not fake rediscoveries, not putting yourself at the center of a world crisis and making it about you when you had nothing to do with it. This was the moment for me that was like the full circle red flag, right? Not the divorce drama, not the fake rediscoveries, not the billionaire zoo tours, the drone smuggling fan fiction. So let's be honest, Forrest Galante has the resume of a content creator, not a conservation biologist. He's never published peer-reviewed papers. He's never co-authored a study. He's never cited the real scientist in his discoveries unless forced to. He has no research institute. And the only thing he's formally published is his own freaking memoir about himself. Listen, I believe Forrest loves wildlife. You love wildlife. I love wildlife. That's why we're watching this. That's why we're mad. That's why we're annoyed and pissed off with Forrest, right? I believe he wants to help, but intention is not the same as impact. And loving animals doesn't make you a scientist, like loving books doesn't make you a librarian. So, Forrest, if you are watching this, publish the papers, cite the locals, show me the money, and credit the scientist. Because if you truly care about conservation, then you know it's not about you. It's about the animals and the people dedicating their lives to protecting them, quietly, without cameras, without brand deals, and without needing the credit. Now, to be fair, and I am being fair, my loves. I am being fair. Forrest has done a couple real world conservation things. He co-led what was described as the largest elephant translocation in Mozambique history, moving 25 elephants across reserves in 2021 to reduce human-wildlife conflict. Hang on, though. So that is big, and that matters, but so does the fact that it wasn't just him. It was an entire team of NGOs, wildlife authority, and local conservationists who did the planning, the groundwork, and the follow-through. So he got to slap his name on that as well. And then he also did a press tour in 2019 about going to the Amazon and helping with cleaning up with the wildfires down there. There's no proof he did. It's just that he promoted that he would. You know what's funny about Forrest's website is if you go to his website, he encourages you to go and participate in science, but not his programs, because he doesn't have any. He wants you to go and support them and fund them, not him. But they're on his website, which is, you know, so sure, he's adjacent to some important work, but adjacent isn't enough. Not when you're branding yourself as a globe-trotting conservationist that is a wildlife hero and has an Instagram bio that reads like a Nat Geo dream fever. Fever dream, not dream fever. Science isn't a performance, it's a process, and the real ones, they don't need a drone army to find the truth. Until next time, stay curious, stay cheeky, and never trust a man whose biggest adventure is escaping accountability. That is all for this meeting, my loves. If you have made it this far, I thank you. It is my first video and I appreciate you staying and sticking around. This has been the FBI Club. See you at the next meeting.